Hey everyone, here we are again doing another video on Frank's Boot Company. Frank's Boots. This is something very unique for me. This is my first MTO, made to order boot. So it's completely customized to my order. And what I chose is this right here, a monkey boot. Frank's boots, they're the only PNW brand, Pacific Northwest American boot brand that does a monkey boot, a roofer boot, also called a roofer boot. This style of boot with all the eyelets going down to the toe was originally designed for the Czech military years ago, and then was adopted by roofers in the workforce, construction and stuff like that. It's pretty rare to see. It's more like a style thing these days, but it's pretty popular with the Indonesian brands as well. Yeah, like Sagara and stuff like that. Let's talk about the leather. So this leather is Badalassi Carlo is the brand, made in Italy. Or it's an Italian tannery, I'll say. The tannage is called Pueblo. This color is called Sapphire. Got this on the 55 last, which is also used by whites and nicks. The standard last for the Frank's monkey boot is the H&W last, which is a little more low arch, low heel. But I like the high, I like a lot of arch support. It's one of the things I love about PNW. So did I say the size 8D? I'm a 9D Brannock. Okay. I got the orange threading, which was a very unique touch for me, getting to choose my own threading. Double row stitching, that's white. Here's an interesting aspect, the Dr. Soles. I got the green Dr. Sole half soles. Okay. These are the corded ones or whatever, super grips. So here's one of the more interesting things I got to do with this particular boot was this counter. I did a single piece counter backstay, no pull loops. I opted for the brown roll top to go with the brown tongue. So it got a lot of like earth tone colors going on here, kind of like my my Rainiers. This is the first MTO order I did. I did this on Labor Day 2024. Maybe like a day or two later, I did the Rainiers, the golf green Dublin Rainiers that I have. This is the one I ordered. Even though I ordered this first, I got this a couple weeks later. This not being a wedge sole, it's a little more involved. So this is the Dogger heel. You'll see that slant on it. So Dogger heel, natural stain. I kind of wanted or thought I did brown stain. I do like brown stained edge dressing, because I don't know, I just like it on most boots. Sometimes I like natural, but a lot of times I like the brown stain. This has the work patches, I'll say, on both sides. There's also the dress patch. That's like the more horizontal one. I have another monkey boot that's gonna have the dress patch, and that is a in Merriam leather. The one boot I already did some work on it, just a little bit with like polishing it, getting that heel nice and shiny. I think you can see it right now. And all the edging around it, and I thought maybe it'll make it a little darker as well. And to do that, I use things like Tokonole, burnishing gum, Lincoln wax, and Sapphire mirror gloss. Came in the traditional, the usual Frank's box. Inside you get a couple stickers. Frank's, particularly for their nicer boots, or your MTOs with dressed leathers and stuff, they'll definitely have them in some kind of boot bag. This is nothing too fancy, just some kind of cloth. You get a little paper on taking care of your boots or help breaking in your boots. Now I got these Kilties, which are actually, I opted for the round Kilties. I prefer the rounded casual Kilties. Nix does a lot of them as well, while these are actually the toothed ones. So they're actually sending me new ones that are rounded. Now I could have cut these. I have cut them on my whites, but I don't want to hack them up and do it poorly. I mean, It shouldn't be rocket science, but I've done it on my whites and I kind of botched it, so I'll leave it to the professionals to do that. So here's a closer look at how these came out. I opted to do, so we have brass hardware, right? So we have all eyelets up to here, and then I just did 2 speed hooks, and then your other round eyelet hole. Normally you would have 3 speed hooks. Why I did that, I thought it would be different, and I generally do, for kind of boot like this, lace to toe, stuff like that, I do like eyelets, but speed hooks are convenient, so I have a little bit, you know, best of both worlds there. You can see a lot of that shine there from the edging as I've, you know, waxed it up a bit. Might try to make that a little darker, maybe get some fibings or something. Yeah, I mean, when you look at it like from this shot here, I mean, this is just a beautiful boot. I mean, I don't see any two ways about it. Beautiful silhouette. So a lot of interesting lines going here because of this counter backstay I did. The whole single piece. Look at these lines from that, in that hide. This tannage, this Pueblo tannage is beautiful. I don't have any Kilties in it yet, as you can see, but I do have more on the way that I'm going to put in. I was going to do potentially some secondhand ones, maybe from Guarded Goods or something, but I may just use the regular Frank's Sapphire Pueblo. So I actually had got the Ortega, or how do you say it? Ortensia color, which is more of like a turquoise color. I had got that from Mike Smith's private collection. This ended up being used, and so this is more of like a straight up blue color, and you know, it's a little different than their navy. I think the navy is maybe just a little darker, so this has a little more character to it. This color, I think it pops a little better. I'm not mad at it. I think it's still just as good looking. It may have actually worked out even better with this color. I can't say that for sure. I think they both would have looked great, honestly, but I mean, what a unique boot, I think. So yeah, the work patch. I honestly prefer the dress patch, but I think they're both pretty cool. The dress patch would just be the one that goes across, horizontal, straight across. But this is pretty neat too. So the difference in this monkey boot, so there's that, you know, the 55 last. The regular monkey boot is H&W with the lower heel. But you can basically get a monkey boot in anything you want. I have one coming in the 4811 last instead. Let's pair it up next to my other Frank boot, or my other MTO. So here is a lace-to-toe, right? Not a monkey boot, but just another lace-to-toe boot. And here is the White's Cutter. That is a lace-to-toe. And then here's a plain toe. This has 10 hardware pieces going up. This lace-to-toe has 9, and so does White's lace-to-toe, also has 9. And then you have your plain toe, which only has 8. From plain toe to monkey, you're gaining 2 eyelets on a monkey, but just 1 on a standard lace-to-toe. The toe, the way that the pattern works on the whites, the lace-to-toe seems like it extends out longer than Frank's lace-to-toe pattern. I don't know why, but it's just the way the pattern worked out. You still get a pretty decent toe on Frank's. You could even still do a toe cap with their lace-to-toe without it looking odd, I think. You'll see they actually do have like a little tag with the sizing on it, and I cut that out on, you know, most of them when I can. Frank's does leather liner, internal leather liner for their dress boots, or dress leathers. You know, they're more fancy leathers. They always line them as standard to give them more temper, to make them thicker, more solid like that. Now the roll tops, these are an additional expense. Pull loops are additional expense. And normally they only do the roll top in brown or black unless they actually have like skived leather of that particular upper, which they did for this. So that's why it actually matches. Otherwise it would be brown, like the tongue material is. Now I gotta say, one of the really interesting aspects about this is the heel height. Look how much taller. These are both 55 last, mind you. Same size, 8D. And you can see how much taller this heel is. I don't know why this ended up being so tall. I think it has to do with the half sole aspect, the Dr. Sole. I'm okay with that. I just found it very surprising. I mean, this is a half sole, but this is whites and a 50-50 last, but you can see how much shorter it is. Now here's a Cutter, 55. This is a 55 last, but whites. You can see how much shorter the heel is there. And then just a couple more examples. Like here's the Lofgren heel, and that's still a little shorter on this engineer boot. Okay, here's a Cordovan Julian boot, heel height. So it may be, I think it is the tallest heel I have, even with my lug sole boots. Here's a Wesco, not too far behind. Here's a Nix Packer heel, and that's probably the closest I got. But otherwise, yeah, this ended up being like my tallest boot, a White's 4811 Woodsman heel, and I mean, it's way taller than that, you know? Yeah, pretty interesting how this turned out. One thing I love about Frank's is, you know, they spare no expense. They don't cheap out. You know, they actually nail in everything with the half sole. Dr. Sole gives you these spots to nail in. You can see everything going on. The arch is really like defined, especially in this one I have here. Now I do feel the arch more in this boot than I do in this. Just the placement of where it landed or something, but it's also just more prominent looking. Like I can really see it just bulging out on this boot. You can see all that leather coming out. Huge arch piece. I love it. It's awesome. And I smoothed this down in here. Now this was the one nitpick I had. In here, this was hanging out a bit. It makes me think like taking out one stack probably would have kind of evened things out a little bit with the height of it. Now on the inside, this is lined up a little better. You know, that last stack with, you can see this one, it comes out. That's lined up pretty closely. Okay, and then on the inside here, you can see how much this is jutting out. Now, I took a file to the other one, or like a nail file, and I kind of sanded it back a little bit, and it looks a little more even now. So I'll sand this side as well. Now, it's funny, I asked for soft toes with both of these, and it's hard for me to even tell if they actually are or not, because there's such a, they are very hard. I don't know if they're just lasted that tight or if it's that much leather layered up, because I thought they were Celastic initially, and this one I could tell it's not. It's just very, it's tightly lasted, I guess. It's interesting too because you can see so much more of a sprung. I mean, the lace is caught under here, but this is also just way more of a sprung toe look compared to this one, because this had all that extra heel height. So it makes the boot tip forward a little bit more. Whereas if I took out a stack, it might be jutting up a little further. I don't mind the sprung toe look. I kind of like that. And then on the flip side of that, with White's Cutter lace to toe as a soft toe, you know this thing's soft. It's not much structure to this one in any way, because I don't know, it's just a more you just get a flatter toe in general with the White's pattern, from what I can see. And so this tannage is quickly becoming a favorite of mine. It has a lot of texture to it. It's not super smooth, it's not super rough. It's just got enough there to give it some character. And these striations are just amazing. I have one other boot in Badalassi Carlo, but this is like the pebbled Minerva right here on this Oak Street Bootmakers boot, the Longshore jump boot. Yeah, so completely different look. You wouldn't even know it's the same tannery if I didn't tell you. So that's how different the tannages can look. You have something a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more interesting. This Badalassi Carlo Pueblo. They also have another tannage called Waxy, which also it's got a lot of pull up, but it's a lot more like of a smooth, straight up smooth leather rather than this more textured type of leather. You know, this textured leather, I don't know, it reminds me more of like how Rambler would be, you know, not as, you know, it's not like a straight up suede like that, but it does have more of that textured feel. But then in other parts, like where it's tightly elasted here at the toe, it comes across more of like a straight up smooth. So same with this. So you get less pebbling right here, right at the toe cap. But yeah, Badalassi Carlo, they use double shoulder bovine cowhide. That's the one type of one piece of hide that they use. So between, you know, Badalassi, Waxy, and Pueblo, another favorite of mine from what I can see, you know, as far as cowhides go, double stuff from Wicked and Craig I think is really interesting. I have a Wicked and Craig boot coming in harness, olive harness from Frank's. That should be pretty neat. Another MTO to show. Watching Brothers in Boots, you know, Mike Smith really got me hip to a lot of these different tanneries. And there's other content creators that often praise Badalassi Carlo. So my takeaway on all this, you know, I'm very happy with them. Initially, when this boot came, it wasn't gonna be the specific color I wanted it. They were actually, Michelle of Frank's Boots, Frank's wife, she was actually willing to remake the whole boot for me from scratch. They'd have to start over from scratch. All the labor, all the materials, all that, because of the mix-up, which was explained to me, and it was an understandable mix-up. But the fact that she was very forthright in saying, we'll make the whole boot all over again for you. No charge, you can send them back, we'll pay for the shipping, all that. They were so willing to accommodate. One of their catchphrases is don't judge us on our mistakes, but how we would handle them, something like that. But I mean, everything else is exactly what I wanted. I mean, I had so many little minute specifications for this boot, like the 2 speed hook aspect, things like that. I mean, everything else was done perfectly. I couldn't nitpick like that. And this hide was specifically chosen by Mike. He had handpicked this hide because he was going to use it, and I can understand his decision to choose this hide because it's lovely. It has a lot of interesting textures to it and visual aspects to it. So, you know, I couldn't be mad at it. I was actually going to have them redo the boot, and then once I got it in hand, I was like, you know what, there's no way I can send this back and actually feel good about it or feel right about it. It's too perfect otherwise. So the fact that it's sapphire color, I'm not mad at that. I'm fine with it. I think they turned out lovely. So, you know, it's a different kind of looking boot. Not for everybody, obviously, but I don't mind something that's a little more flashy, a little different, because I know it's my boot. You know what I mean? If you have a specific vision of what you want to see in a boot, Frank's can do that for you, and that's one of the best things about the company, and they do it fast. They do it really fast. I have a boot coming that I ordered on Black Friday, and it's already shipped to me. They already had it done before Christmas, so that's a quick turnaround time. That's a really quick turnaround time, and it's a boot. It's a monkey boot, which already has tons of leather built into it. But I also asked for a lot of little details, like the roll top, pull loops. It's 3 different colors, this boot, that I had them make for me. And they already are sending it to me. That's a month? It only took a month. I'm still waiting over 6 months now for an MTO from White's through Baker's. So, whatever. But Frank's, I cannot knock them. Their quality, their customer service. I mean, this is like a work of art that's built like a tank. It's amazing. I love how they can really help you to make it your own. If you have a vision, something you want to see, something different, they'll make it happen for you and not ask questions. You know, they can change. They're one of the few companies that will actually switch. You can get different lasts with different patterns. You don't see that too. I mean, you see a little bit of that with whites and all and Nicks, but and even Wesco. I guess they all do it to some degree, but they'll really try to bend the rules for you, and I really admire that. So, all right, that's enough of me rambling. Stay tuned for more. Should be more to come. Frank's Boots, made in the USA, all leather components. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for hanging in there, and I'll see you on the next one.